Hey everybody, how is your Sunday going? Mine's going pretty good, pretty chill. We got some news today. Some of it's pretty cool, some of it's pretty great. Some of it kind of sucks, and I just kind of wanted to go over a little, couple two treat things. Sorry about the ragamuffin. It's Sunday. I mean, who wants to shave on Sunday? Probably lots of people shave on Sunday, but I'm not lots of people. I'm Gene. Anyway, this is episode 1, season 1 of Gene Reynolds Live. So, and we're not even live. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm still working through some things, guys. Okay, give me some slack. Cut me a little bit. I was gonna say cake. I don't want cake. Anyway, let's hop into it. So, as everyone knows, we spent 20 whole hours negotiating with Iran to just wrap this up. Just shake hands and move forward. Unfortunately, 20 hours didn't get us where we needed to be. And, well, we're here where we're at. So, Dear Leader has posted on his Truth Social network. Can we all agree that the name Truth Social is like oxymoronic? Like, I guess I don't know, it's 100% branding because I can go ahead and say that the sky is green. It ain't the truth. Just putting that out there. It's not truth. Not. It won't be. It can't be. Anyway. That said, Mr. Trump here posted, so there you have it. The meeting went well. It went well, guys. Most points were agreed to. But the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. So, effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. Let's think about that one for a moment. So, this entire time, and I can show you the tweets, the truths, whatever they're called, the posts, Donald Trump's posts here for like a month or two going, the Strait of Hormuz is open, or to open the Strait of Hormuz right away, or we don't need the Strait open, or, whatever he's posted. But we've gone through all of that, him screaming caps lock, open the Strait now, you lunatics, to we're blocking it. I don't understand who this helps. I don't get it all. Anyway, he continues. The process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis. So I guess the idea here is, unless Iran does what we want them to do, we will block all ships until we allow all of the ships to go in or out. So it's like an all or nothing thing. But Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere. So I think like if I was trying to interpret someone's thought pattern, let's say like somebody had dementia and I was trying to interpret their thought patterns and kind of like figure out what they were doing and what they were saying, I would probably go with, well, he thinks, you know what? Actually, I just blue screened. I have no idea. But anyway, so the idea here being, nothing can go in or out because there might be a mine somewhere. However, we already know that some ships have been successfully transversing the strait, after paying a fee or a fine or something to do so. We'll get to that actually. Let's I don't know. None of this is making sense so far, but let's continue forward. Said that there might be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about them. Anyway, this is extortion. Oh, this is world extortion, he says. And leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. Okay, so he just said that we're going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz. We're shutting it down until we allow everyone to go in or out. And by we, I guess he means the US and Iran allows everyone to go out. But because there might be a mine, because Iran mined the strait, because there might be mines, that's extortion. But us just blockading them is not extortion. Furthermore, he moves on. I lost my place. Oh, this is extortion. And leaders of countries, especially the United States, will never be extorted, but we will extort others. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. Explain that one. So, anyone who's paid a toll just to get their product out will now be interdicted and I guess arrested and their vessel seized by America because they paid an illegal toll. How does this help someone out there help me understand this? Because if these ships just paid a toll to get whatever they needed to get out, to deliver whatever they need to deliver, if we're now going to interdict them, seize their vessels, and I guess imprison these crews and whatnot, how does that help anybody? How does that help us? How does that help the Iran conflict stop? How does that help anyone? It's extortion. If you paid a toll, we're going to seize your vessel. How? We're going to interdict you. It doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, Captain Bonespurs continues. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the Strait. Okay, destroy them. Why have you waited this long? Something tells me it's probably not that easy. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels, I apologize, will be blown to hell. We've already been doing that. And according to you, all of their Navy, all of their Air Force, all of their everything is destroyed. But somehow they're able to still choke point the Strait. Anyway. Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Everything is dead and blown up and destroyed, and they can't do anything, but apparently they could do a lot. But they can't do anything because we destroyed it all, but they could do a lot. But they can't do anything because we destroyed them completely. They couldn't do anything to do anything. They can't do anything except that they're closing the Strait. It's like both sides of your mouth, Don't touch that, but also touch it. Don't touch it, but they can touch it. And just back and forth. Anyway, I don't have to tell you. You already know. Anyway, so their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their blah, blah, blah. It's all gone. The Khamenei, I can't pronounce his name. I've heard it like 9 times. Anyway, or 9,000 times at this point. Or their last name, but anyway. And most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockades will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we are fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up what little is left of Iran. So there we go. Just another threat of, I guess, annihilation. So let's kind of put this into context. What's actually going on here? I think so. This whole we're going to go ahead and interdict and seize every vessel is some of the most asinine thinking I can think of. For example, let's say it's like going to high school, and going to okay. So you're in high school and there's a bully, and this bully is extorting everyone's lunch money. Give me your lunch money, and he kicks this bull. The bully kicks the kid, steals your lunch money. And now here's America, the hero, coming into the schoolyard and going to every bully's victim and now putting them in jail because they got bullied. Where's the difference? I mean, how does this help anybody? What's going on here? That's why we say okay, maybe he's falling off his rocker, because this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And then he says that other countries are going to do this blockade as well. What other country is going to blockade the Strait? This hurts everyone. Well, then there's that argument, I've been seeing a lot, online a lot, where they're saying actually this is going to force more people to purchase oil from the United States of America. Except that oil is a global commodity. Okay, so hear me out. 20 to 30% of the world's oil comes through the Strait. Okay. So if 20 to 30% is now blockaded, it can't come out of the Strait. That means it has to either come from somewhere, or what happens is that the existing supply out there's prices go up. Okay. We're tracking so far. So even if this does force more buyers to come to America or Russia or wherever else the buyers go, there's only X amount that we can even provide. For example, America only produces, I think it's 16 to 20% of the world's supply. So if 30% of it's already taken off and we only produce 16 to 20% of the world's supply, some of that supply has to go to us, but it can't go to anyone, we can't fulfill that bottleneck need, because that, you cut off the Strait. So what happens? Well, now all that oil is stuck there. So the prices still go up because 30% of the supply has now been removed from the market. So the law of supply and demand, because supply went down, demand's still where demand is, which means price goes up, period. And we can't facilitate that lost supply. We might be able to do some, but nowhere near what that supply is. So therefore prices just keep going up. And it works out for the oil folks. Man, isn't that interesting? Like, we had a few months ago, or a year ago or whatever, remember we had this whole Venezuela thing, and then like all the oil companies are like, hey, we can't actually fund any of this because this oil is too hard to get to, or it's too hard to refine, or there's a whole lot of issues with this where even the large oil companies are going, you know what, this isn't a great deal. This doesn't help us. Now suddenly, fast forward, we're at war with Iran. We're creating massive waves and quakes in the oil industry. Just like connecting some of these dots here. You know what I mean? But I'm not a conspiracy theorist. There are no conspiracies. Come on. Anyway, man, I am scruffy today. Look at that. I need to do something about that. But later. Anyway, I don't understand how yelling. I mean, it just comes down to one, rank hypocrisy, because hey, we can extort. America can extort anyone we want to, but you can't extort anyone you want to. And then in order to fix this, America's going to imprison everyone you extorted, interdict everyone's vessel. Like, we're gonna go after and just great justice warriors that we are. We're actually going to go after and we're going to imprison all the people that you extorted. I guess it's to like bully other people not to pay the fines. Like, hey, look what we're doing over here. If you pay the fine, we're going to extort you. But if you don't pay the fine, then you're trapped here. But ultimately, none of that matters. None of it matters because now we're blockading and closing the Strait. This isn't 3D, 4D, 12D chess. This is eating checkers. Like, literally eating the board, the checkerboard. It's incredible, actually. I don't want to say the R word, just how stupid this is. And then, like, furthermore, let's get into it a little bit more. So what are they asking for? I mean, they're asking for $200 billion for this whole Iran crap. They're asking for $200 billion to fund this war that, I mean, even when you break it apart, like, I think the biggest claim is they were going to have ballistic missiles. Well, probably one day. In fact, they probably still will have them one day. And that's just a reality that's going to happen. But here's a reality that everyone is ignoring. Look at every country on the planet. Where do their ballistic missiles, where do they keep them and where do they stay? Anybody? Right. Underground. Every ballistic missile is kept underground. You know why? Because nuclear ballistic missiles are a deterrent. So they stay underground. I mean, think of it this way. North Korea every night broadcasts on their national television that they're going to nuke and destroy America. I mean, for a great while there, we even saw the broadcasts here at home because the news would play and like, look, they say they have this intercontinental ballistic missile and it can reach Colorado and it blows up everybody. But here's the thing. We never went and invaded North Korea. I mean, Trump won. He said like the whole Rocket Man, and then the whole like we have a beautiful relationship, and they sent like Kim Jong Un, and then sent like letters to each other or whatever. But like that same diplomacy style and same tactics, same reasoning, same everything else is not being applied to Iran. Iran, we had to fully invade. Well, I guess we haven't fully invaded. There aren't yet boots on the ground, but we had to launch a full-scale military, strike campaign, airstrikes. I'm sure we did some sea strikes. We blew up. I mean, there was this a vessel from India that we blew, or coming back from India to Iran. It was completely unarmed. We blew them up, which I'm sure isn't a war crime or anything like that, or nothing to worry about. But anyway, long story short, North Korea, where are all their missiles? Their ballistic missiles. Yeah, they're underground or in a cave or whatever. They're not flying through space or the skies, and they're not hitting us, because at the end of the day, these are a deterrent. So, even if Iran had a nuclear ballistic missile, would they use it against us? No. Because that's just the thing. The moment you use a nuclear ballistic missile, that's the moment that at best, it's just your country that gets nuked out of existence. But at worst, triggers World War III. Total annihilation. Mutually assured destruction. Mad. So what am I trying to say here? The idea that we had to launch this full scale, whatever, or half scale, whatever it is, because of they would have ballistic missiles and nuclear thing. Here's the thing. They would probably have them one day, but it's been 40 or 50 years and they don't have them yet. So in my estimation, did we need this war at all? No, we didn't need this at all. Not at all. This was because Israel was going to attack, and like George Bush told Israel no, Obama told Israel no, Biden told Israel no, Trump told him yeah, we'll go ahead and go for it. We'll just jump into this. This isn't our war. It is not. The claims about our security and everything else, well, we completely and totally decimated their nuclear program like 6 or 7 or 8 months ago, or however long it goes, and now suddenly they're going to have a ballistic missile imminently. But every single country on this planet, where are all the nukes? They're put away. Long-term storage. Because they are a deterrent. Because they know if they have these weapons, and where they were to use these weapons, it would spell total doom for their country. If Russia fires off their missiles, well, America's going to fire off their missiles. And what's going to happen? The world's going to end. For everyone. When the world ends, everyone loses. Anyway, so that gets me to thinking too. We're constantly told that we can't have anything because it just costs too much. We can't have healthcare because it costs too much. We can't have childcare because it costs too much. We can't have education because it just costs too much. But the moment that they need infinity dollars for war, it's right there and ready. And they could just get it. For example, Hegseth here is on seeking $200 billion for the Iran war, and that number could move. I wonder which way it would move. Anyway, so, I mean, not only is this war unpopular and everything else, but the request for just $200 billion, and then we have, I think it was on Easter, in fact, we have Trump saying that we can't afford daycare, we can't whatever, we can't all this thing, we're fighting a war. Well, one, we don't need to fight this war. We could literally, honestly, you know what? Like, Trump could just say the moment we detect any more nuclear, we're just going to bomb you again, and he can leave and claim victory, and then just leave. I don't like. I'm not privy to all the education, all the intelligence and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, a clever man could find an off ramp to this. But there's this nuclear sticking point or whatever. Okay, but here's the thing: what could $200 billion a year provide for Americans? In America, because apparently we're supposed to be America first, but that never comes. Like, it's never America first if there's money involved. Think about that. Hit me up. Like, when is it America first when there's money involved? It's not. Money is always to, almost almost universally, money, every time money is discussed, it's always for war, or it's always for, a defense budget, or that kind of thing. I mean, like, look at this like the big beautiful bill. It gave huge amounts of money to DHS, huge amounts of money to the Department of Defense, huge amounts of money to militarized departments. And what did it take from? It took from all of the social programs. It took from all of the social departments. Like, if I had a big old a big old chart of, where the money went to and where the money came out of, it went all to militarized departments. Sorry about that. And it came out of all of the social departments. And then, filled their respective budgets. But for example, what could, we have the federal government right now, the administrative branch of the federal government right now requesting $200 billion for this war. But what could that actually do if it went into the social departments? What could we do with that money here at home? Well, $200 billion a year, universal health care, or child care, and pre-K. So I did some research here, and I have some more examples of what this money could be better spent on. But I'm just going to kind of go through a few examples. And the first one here is universal child care and pre-K. My research brought up that it costs about plus or minus $50 billion a year. And the benefits would be immediate workforce expansion. Reliable, fully funded childcare would immediately allow millions of parents to re-enter the workforce or transition from part-time to full-time work, instantly boosting national GDP and expanding the tax base. When parents can go out and work a whole day, or, it's not just one parent working, both parents can work, guess what? That increases not only their spending capabilities and everything else, that increases the GDP, and then ultimately the tax base. So this would be a program that literally funds itself because it gives people more opportunity to work and be productive, which creates more opportunity for taxation, which creates more money for the federal government, which we really could use, because not only is our growth falling behind our debt, our national debt, but our national debt's, I mean, there's that whole national debt argument too. I'm not going to break into that, but what we do need is we need to be borrowing less. The only time we should ever borrow and increase our national debt is if growth will outpace it. But growth is not outpacing it, and that's how you get into recessions, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, universal childcare and pre-K could be a godsend for many Americans. Get them back to work. Long-time ROI, there's this equation, the Heckman equation. So Nobel laureate Heckman, research shows that high-quality birth to 5-year-old childcare education programs yield 7 to 13% ROI annually, return on investment annually per child. So you give basic math here. You invest $100, the ROI is you're going to get 107 to 113 bucks back. That's a positive investment. That helps America. That's America first. And then productivity boost. Children who attend pre-K have higher graduation rates, lower rates of criminal justice system involvement, consistent and higher earning incomes as adults, turning them into higher net earners to the economy. It's just this would be $50 billion well spent. Well, Gene, what about all this fraud? Okay, spend $1 billion for fraud detection. Okay, if that's what it is, what would that be? 2%? Spend 2% of that budget on increased fraud detection, and then write laws where it's the penalties for any kind of fraud or whatever are massive or super severe. I don't care what you have to do. No one's going to argue hey, if it costs 2% more to make sure that this money is being spent accurately, have inspectors go out to make sure. I don't know what the inspector levels are now, but I guarantee you, if I were to go look them up, what we would find is that these federal programs, they're probably by and large, on just wholly trust bases. So spend 2% more, $1 billion. I guarantee you that $1 billion would probably net more in returns or more in lost funds or something. I don't know. I don't have the math in front of me, but I bet there's a way that anyone could make a convincing argument that this would be a net positive. It's kind of silly if you ask me. Anyway, so let's move on. What else could that $200 billion be spent on? Tuition-free public college and vocational training. So there would an annual estimate of about $80 billion. So the burden of student loan debt, currently over $1.7 trillion, surpasses economic growth. It's unsustainable. It prevents young adults from buying homes, starting small businesses, or taking entrepreneurial risks. Meanwhile, the U.S. faces a massive skilled labor shortage in fields ranging from nursing to advanced manufacturing. So the benefits of spending $80 billion a year on just public college or vocational training, like, look, you want to go to private college, you want a private school, and you can have the means to do it, do it. No one's telling you not to. But at the end of the day, I think we should invest in the education of our young adults. Because again, if we just saw the case for, investing in literal children. Well, what happens if you continue that forward with young adults? Okay, so we're close to skill gap. Fully funded public universities, community colleges, and trade schools would align the American workforce with the demands of the 21st century economy. I know this is kind of fluff piece I wrote in here. I'll cut it down next time for brevity. But anyway, it ensures businesses have the engineers, electricians, and healthcare workers they need to grow. I mean, what are we seeing, especially like in healthcare now with nurses? There's this huge shortage. Well, think about where the economy is and how much money people are just spending just to live day to day. Now you want them also to spend on, nursing school or all these higher or really expensive higher educational vocational programs. Well, here's the thing. They don't have the money for that. So what do? Well, they're stuck in this like endless loop of working at Subway and McDonald's and then catching any odd job that they can and then door dashing just to make the ends meet. See, it's like economic suicide when you think about it. It only helps your economy if you give at least, I'm not like even talking like free higher education, period. Like there's Ivy League schools and all these other things. That's fine. Keep them. But we should offer a base, like we offer a basis of like high school, like K through 12 education, because imagine where we'd be if we just made that, imagine how many students there would be in K through 12 if we now charge tuition for that. Well, we would immediately generate a generation of the dumbest MMFers that we ever did see. Okay, so at the end of the day, paying for at least a minimum level of higher educational, vocational training, or even public college fills those vacancies, because now people aren't being trapped. Because that's also now the other insidious part about it too, when you think about it, is you go to school, now you're trapped with $40,000 of tuition, but it's not $40,000. You make your minimum payments by the time you're 85 and you die and you paid it off, you've paid like $600,000 for that $40,000 loan. And these are loans that you can't bankrupt yourself out of. It's like illegal to go bankrupt with student loan debt. It's asinine. It's ludicrous. Smart person would take out a massive loan that they can't, repay or whatever, pay off their student loans, and then default on their massive loan that they took out, and then bankrupt themselves out of that. Like, you see, like, America doesn't make any sense. You have to be like some kind of also hashtag not financial advice. Don't do that. I'm not a guy who knows much. I'm just saying, if you had the means to take out a massive loan, one could theorize that, hey, you pay back your student loan debt and then you bankrupt yourself out of the other thing. But either which way you slice it, you're still effed for decades, or however long it is. And that's even assuming it even worked out, which it won't. Don't take this. This is not advice. I'm just trying, like, the American system is so backwards that's the kind of thinking that it puts somebody into to try to get out of this kind of stuff. Because for some reason you can't bankrupt yourself out of student loan debt. Like that, who does that help? It doesn't help Americans, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, moving on. Increased tax revenue. On average, bachelor degree holders earn roughly 84%. Think about that. If you have a bachelor's degree, you are going to earn, on average, over 80% more over your lifetime than those who only have a high school diploma. Think about that. Higher earnings translate directly into significant higher lifetime tax contribution. So the math is simple there. You earn more, you pay more in the tax base. And what does that tax base do? Pays for these college programs. Imagine that, think about it long term. You probably can't hear me all the way back there, but think about it long term. You invest $80 billion a year. You generate these generations now, these groups of higher educated folk who have better jobs, are earning more money, and are now paying more into your tax base. Don't you think that that's a program that pays for itself pretty quickly? And then this is only $80 billion, and this is for an entire year. The U.S. military is asking for $200 billion for a couple months so that we could bomb people. Do you know how much money that gives us back in return? Zero. It's a 100% net loss. Or we could start spending money on us that makes our lives better and provides, I don't know the exact percentages, but net benefits. I mean, the previous one we saw just on a tax basis alone, it repays like, what was it, 7 to 13%? Yeah, 7 to 13% ROI. So I'm sure this is only a net positive. Something that we can say for certain is it's not a negative. A more educated populace doesn't mean that your GDP falls. Show me that anywhere in any numbers. Anyway, moving on. Without the anchor of student debt, younger generations would immediately redirect their income to the broader economy, purchasing homes, vehicles, consumers, goods. See, that's just it. You make more money. You have more money to buy more stuff, which means that you're boosting your local economies and national economies because you're spending more. You're out of the trap. You don't have $40,000 of student loan debt that you'll never repay, and you end up repaying $500,000, and then you die or whatever it is, like $250,000. It's ridiculous of what it ends up being for a lot of folks. What else can we do with that money? Well, national paid family and medical leave. So this would cost an estimate of about $40 billion a year. The United States is the only advanced economy in the world that does not guarantee paid leave. When workers have children, fall ill, or need to care for aging parents, yada, 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 they have to make a choice. You will have to make a choice. Do you work or what do you do? I mean, look it up yourself. Google is free. The United States is the only advanced economy in the world that does not guarantee paid leave. And it's asinine, but let's look at the benefits. Just $40 billion. Okay. They want $200 billion to blow people up. What would $40 billion do? Well, $40 billion, labor force retention. Paid leave drastically reduces employee turnover. Replacing an employee costs businesses roughly 20% of their workers' salary. By keeping workers attached to the labor force during life events, businesses save billions in hiring and retraining costs. There you go. Preventative healthcare savings. Paid medical leave allows workers to Paid medical leave allows workers to address health issues before they become catastrophic and require highly expensive emergency care or lead to long-term disability, which drains public resources. Benefit. Good. And the maternal workforce attachment. States that have implemented paid leave, like California and New Jersey, have seen increased workforce participation rates among mothers, reducing reliance on public assistance. I hear everyone complain about SNAP or food stamps and all this other stuff. You know, they're just moochers. They're just drains on our, society, economy, all this other stuff. But what are we doing to get them out of that? Like, there's like, I don't know what to call it. There is this mentality that, I don't want my money going to freeloaders. Well, here's the thing. I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but there were studies that overall, it's like 1% of the people on these programs are freeloaders, right? They're not freeloading. They're trying to exist. And the world that they exist in right now, they're trying to, subsist on basically nothing. And they're taking, food stamps to pay for, the bare minimums. Oh, they could get soda. Whatever. Invest into them to help them get out of their situation so they can make their situation better. Improve themselves. And I wish I had the data in front of me. It's something like 1% or 2%. It's so low. Like the amount of people mooching or just, taking it for a ride or whatever is so low. And they've tricked us and they've tricked a lot of people, and they is doing heavy lifting here. I wish I could paint exactly who it is, but there's a lot of these groups out there, a lot of PACs and stuff that are spending a lot of money trying to keep people in this mindset that we need lower taxes and everything else because it's all fraud and it's all people mooching. And we could save so much money because at the end of the day, it's all fraud and it's all people just, stealing from the government. And that's just not true. It's not true. Maybe I'll do an episode on that too, because that's important. I think that's something important that we need to address because at the end of the day, that's not true. There's so much more going on. And I said that a little bit wrong. It's not about so much more going on. It's such a bigger calculation. It's it's only like 1% or so of people actually mooching, frauding, and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's there's a mentality of I don't want my money to go to help anybody else. That's crap. I would rather my money help somebody out of this bad situation so they can make the situation better than my money going to a bomb that's going to blow up a school for girls. Right? Right? You're not woke for thinking that way. You're not a libtard for thinking that way. That's just the way I think humans should think. Anyway, anything else? Housing First Initiative to end chronic homelessness, $30 billion. Homelessness is a massive problem in this country. But all you see, like on Fox News and everybody else, is just people pointing to like the tent cities and going, ew, ew, look at these people trying to live in tents. It's so dirty, ew. Well, what are we doing to help this? Besides just pointing and going like, look at these states over here. They have homeless people and it's gross. Well, they're homeless for a reason. A lot of that reason is, let's skip economic. But a lot of that reason these people are homeless because they have like a lot of mental issues and stuff. We have like none of this, like we don't have we're not investing, because we do have some of it, but we're not investing in like proper mental health care in this country. And it's like asinine. And then we look at the issues that, this issue causes. Like homelessness and drug addiction and crime and everything else. And like we bitch about it all day long. But when it comes down to like, hey, you know what? Let's invest in something to get this better. Well, we can't possibly do that. That's socialism. It's Before I lose my mind, let's go back to this guy. Housing First Initiative to end chronic homelessness. So estimated cost around $30 billion. Chronic homelessness is an incredible drain on public resources. Local governments spend massive amounts of money managing the problem rather than solving it. Sound familiar? Anyway, primarily through the criminal justice and emergency medical systems. The benefits. So direct cost savings. Studies consistently show that it costs taxpayers more to leave a chronically homeless person on the street than it does to house them. This has been I should actually do an episode on this too, because it's been proven like 1,000 times over that at the end of the day, when you keep applying Band-Aids, well, Band-Aids are expensive. And what does a Band-Aid do? Well, it's a temporary fix for a problem that's going to come back. It's not a perfect metaphor. Yeah, you put a Band-Aid on a scratch, but actually, there you go. You put a Band-Aid on a scratch, your body heals it because your body did something to heal it. Well, right now, we're just putting Band-Aids on a body that doesn't want to heal. Okay, so we got to fix that body. We got to fix that body to make it heal its boo-boos. Anyway, I don't mean to treat anyone here like they're 12, but sometimes some people need it. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So it costs taxpayers more to leave a chronically homeless person on the street than it does to house them. A person living on the street frequently utilizes emergency rooms, psychiatric crisis services, and jails, costing taxpayers anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Those Band-Aids are expensive. Anyway, stabilization for employment, permanent supportive housing costs a fraction of emergency services. So instead of wasting $30,000 to $50,000 a year, I guess the actual breakdown is not here per individual, but they're estimating a cost of $30 billion a year. But what does that do? It stops the bleeding. So in itself, stops the bleeding. And now we start healing by doing something about the issue. We provide them a bed, basic casework, maybe some mental services. Not everyone on the street in a homeless encampment is, a goner to society. My mind a lot goes to we're supposed to be this Christian nation and everything else. Well, what would the Christian in this situation do? Do we just nothing? We point and go, ew? Do we sweep them under the rug? What is our duty to these people? Now let's just go on like a secular. What is like humanity's duty to these people who are experiencing the hardest time in their lives? Well, I think our duty is to do something about it. Do something to help improve not only their lives, but our lives in the process. It's a net benefit for all involved. There are going to be some lost causes, and there are going to be some people who are just a complete drain. But that's life. It doesn't mean because there's going to be we can't do it at all because, some people are going to, that's the mentality I talked about earlier. We can't do any of this because there's going to be people who just people who are going to take advantage. Well, that's the silliest thinking ever. Well, we can't possibly do this thing because, somebody might, take advantage of it. Well, that's silly. It's like all I hear about in like the hard right circles is, look at all this fraud. We have to completely cancel all programs now. Like the federal government, it's like trying its best to cancel all of these federal program funds, period. 100% of them, just canceling it. Well, that's dumb, because 100% because now everyone who was actually benefiting from these programs and actually trying to do the best that they could and get out and claw their way out and make something of themselves, well, now their support system's gone. The people who it was working for, which is the grand majority, now are struggling. And like with the whole childcare thing. Well, they stopped funding the federal dollars. Like, well, we're going to turn this off. Well, those federal dollars were actually helping a lot of people, allowing a lot of parents to go to work, allowing a lot of people to make their life better. But no, we had to put a stop to that because there was some fraud. It doesn't make sense. So and then it'll get you thinking, and it'll get you pretty upset too, because why aren't we applying that reasoning to like the military? There's no fraud in the military? Well, there's some fraud in the military. I could probably go out. If I spend 10 minutes researching it, I could probably find some fraud in the military. So we should cut off all money to the military. Well, the hard right folks would go, well, that's silly. We shouldn't cut off because the military protects us. Okay. So we can't cut off all of the money to the military. Otherwise, they can't protect us. Stupid libtard. Well, why is that? Then why is that the reasoning we're using for these childcare programs? Like after school and not babysitting, but daycare. Like, why are we applying this line of logic to these daycare facility? Like, oh, we have to stop all of the money because of fraud. Well, that's stupid. You just told me it was stupid. Remember, like the military protects us. Well, this money is literally allowing parents to go to work, is literally allowing people to become more productive, earn more money, paying more into the tax system. Now you're shooting yourself in the foot because there's some fraud that exists. Fraud, by the way, that was, investigated under Biden's term and prosecuted. There's no new prosecutions. You know why? Because it's all horror shit meant to you just get angry at the wrong things. Anyway, I'm not going to talk into that. Not going to talk about that right now. I think I got my point across. I think that's it for right now. So, yeah. I wish I had more. I wish I had more answers. We don't need $200 billion for Iran war. This whole, like, they did it before. Weapons of mass destruction. Well, we didn't find any, and now we don't care. It's going to be the exact same thing in Iran. I don't know how long this one's going to last, but it's going to be the same thing. We're going to spend an astronomical amount of money. We're going to jack up our national debt even more. We're not going to do anything other than burn through resources. And we're one day just going to leave. And someone's going to go, but what happened to the nukes? And we're just going to, I don't know. Like the last war. Like Afghanistan, Iraq, all that other stuff. Weapons of mass destruction. George Bush was on the TV just saying those words over and over and over. Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction. Well, what, did they just stop? Yeah. No, they didn't. What stopped was, well, it's not anything that just stopped. It's just, well, it's time to go. Did we get all the weapons? No. Were there any weapons? Nah, probably not. But we don't care about that now. We care about Iran and their weapons of mass destruction. And then in a little bit, it's going to be Syria. Anyway. That's about all I got today. Little craziness. And I know I'm going to get a flow working here. And this is just kind of the first episode. You know how things go. I got a lot to do. I don't know if I like this aesthetic I got going on, whatever, but we'll figure it out. And in the meantime, If this content is something that resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you like. Hit the bell. Do all those little things. And you know what? Catch me live. I'm going to start doing live stuff. It'll probably be just as bad as this video, but don't worry about it. We'll have fun together. All right? Well, that's all I got. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week.